good people doing? It is a beautiful day here in Southwest Florida. Let me give y'all a glimpse of my view. Look at that view, man. Would you look at that view? Come on, guys. You got to give me a thumbs up just for the view. Beautiful pool. Got the main pool here. Got the jacuzzi right there. So that's where your boy be kind of chilling, getting a little bit of R&R, relaxing, entertaining. But man, welcome back to another live stream. Welcome back to another video. We got an extremely important topic we're gonna be covering today, and that's credit cards. Man, guys, I got some just incredibly just crazy statistics around credit cards and what's happening with credit card debt. It's crazy. So we're going to talk about that here in a second, but let me get a couple house cleaning items out of the way. Number one, we got some people popping into the video, to the live. Hit that thumbs up for me. Y'all know the routine. Please hit the thumbs up for me. It's extremely important that we hit that thumbs up so that we can get this content spread out to a wider audience. I really would appreciate you guys as you come into the live. Please hit the like button for me. I really would appreciate that. It goes a long ways. So please hit that thumbs up for me. Also, if you want up to 12 free stocks from Webull, you're going to get up to 12 free stocks if you open a new Webull brokerage account. Put any amount of money in that brokerage account. They're going to give you up to 12 free stocks for just trying out the brokerage app. There's a link down in the description box of the video. Click on that Webull link. Open up your new Webull account today. Go get that free stock. Go get that free money. And then I'm going to send you a Webull tutorial video to walk you through how to use the Webull app to make your first trade so you can start building wealth, buying paper assets, buying individual stocks. All you got to do is send me a DM on Instagram, and I'm going to send you that free Webull tutorial video. You need to let me know you've opened the account and funded it, though. That's the requirement. You got to open the account and you got to fund it, and then I'm going to go ahead and send you that free Webull tutorial video. Just DM me on Instagram at RichardFain28. One more look at that beautiful view, guys, for some of you guys that are just coming into the live. This is where I live, man. Check it out. Beautiful, right? Beautiful. I'm so fortunate and so lucky to be able to live in a place that I call paradise. I mean, it's Southwest Florida. The weather's beautiful. Right now, our temperature is still pretty hot. It's not as humid as it was earlier in the summer, but right now we're getting some cooler temperatures, and it's really nice to be able to come outside and just enjoy the outdoors and enjoy this beautiful weather, this beautiful view, this scenery. But without further ado, one more time, hit that like button, guys, as you come into the live. We're going to be covering a lot of ground today. Definitely going to be talking about credit cards and the impact credit card debt is making on the United States and its citizens, and more importantly, how you guys can actually get yourself out of credit card debt. That's the main thing, right? I'm gonna give you some practical things that you can do in order to eliminate credit card debt and then get yourself in a position where you can start building wealth. If you got credit card debt and it's choking you financially, it's taking away money, guys, that you could be using to build wealth. But we're gonna talk about how to get you out of that debt here in a few minutes. So just like the title says, why you should burn your credit cards now before it's too late. Let me give you some statistics to kick this thing off. Right now, in America, we have $1.23 trillion in credit card debt. Guys, that is the highest level of credit card debt we've ever had in the history of America. That is the highest level of credit card debt in the world. In the world. That's the first one. That should be alarming to you guys, because you got to remember, just 9 months ago, the total credit card debt in the US was it was under 900 billion. So from like January to end of September, we've added another $300 billion in credit card debt. I wonder why. We're going to talk about that too. Here's another statistic for you. 56% of people who use their credit cards carry a balance month to month. That's more than half of the people that use credit cards are carrying a balance. To me, that was extremely shocking. That was a shocking statistic for me. Here's another one for you. The average household in America has around $7,950 in credit card debt. Guys, just earlier this year, beginning of this year, it was around $6,250 was on average. That has jumped itself up to $7,950, almost $8,000 in credit card debt for the average American family, which is, again, shocking. But here's the one that's the most shocking. Average credit card interest rate in America, 22.75%. You do the math on $8,000 at 22.75%. If you make the minimum payment, guys, which is all interest, basically, it'll take you 30, 40 years to pay that $8,000 off. If you make a payment of $200 per month on that $8,000, it's gonna take you somewhere in that 7 to 8 years to pay it off. But here's the kicker. You're gonna, over that 7-year period, you're gonna spend almost $10,000 in interest, just paying the interest at 22, 23%. Yeah, that's the shape we're in America right now with credit cards. We're not using credit cards properly, guys. And that's, yeah, you can tell we're not using them just based on the statistics. I mean, you're talking about $1.3 trillion. Guys, you know how much money that is? Do you know how much money $1 trillion is? That's like $999 billion. That's a lot, man. And like I said, no other country in the world comes close to us. And we have, this is our, we've topped, well, this is the highest level of credit card debt we've ever had. And I would tell you the reason why is because of what's going on in our economy with inflation, what's going on with the cost of our goods and services. Also, you know, a lot of people are using their credit cards for leisure. Oh yeah, let's pay for the trip. Let's pay for the summer vacation. And once we get our bonus, or we'll save up and pay that credit card off in a couple of months. But that couple of months turns into what? A couple of years. You never pay it off. You just carry the balance. You make the minimum payment. And guess what? You never pay the credit card off. It just continues to just eat away at you because interest keeps going up. A lot of you might say to yourself, well, Richard, why in the world is interest going up? Why are interest rates so high? Well, that's because the Federal Reserve over the last 18 to 20 months has been increasing the short-term interest rate, which is AKA the Fed funds rate. And see, credit card rates are tied into indirectly to the Fed funds rate. Typically, what the Fed funds rate will feed directly into is what we call the prime rate. See, the prime rate is what banks charge you to borrow money. The Fed funds rate is what banks borrow money between each other. So one bank might go to the Federal Reserve and say, hey, we need 100 billion. Federal Reserve lends it to them at the Fed funds rate. And then that bank turns around and take that 100 billion. They might lend it out to people like you and I, but they're not going to charge you that Fed funds rate. They're going to charge you prime rate, which is typically 3% higher than the Fed funds rate. So if the Fed funds rate right now is 5.50, then the prime rate is 8.50. But hold on. That's not what the credit card companies are going to charge you. They're not going to charge you the prime rate, guys. They're going to charge you prime plus. And that's where that 22.75% comes in. They're going to charge you an extra 14% on top of the prime rate. That's how they make their money. That's how they make their denario. That's how they make it. They're going to charge you prime plus 14.75%. That's going to get you up to your 22.75% interest rate. And guess what? It ain't against the law for them to do it. They can charge you up to whatever the regulatory requirements allow them to charge you up to. Yes, they can. And they do. Because that's how credit card companies make their money. You got to understand, credit card companies, it's a whole industry, right? You got the credit card provider or the network, the credit card network. Then you got the provider, right? And then you got like merchants, right? And they make money off of who? All of those, the whole credit card industry makes money off of you and me. Consumers, they make it in transaction fees. So every time you go to a merchant, throw your credit card in there, boom, credit card company getting a piece of that, right? Every time you get your statement and you got a balance that you don't pay in full before the grace period is up, guess what? They're gonna charge you interest, right? Some of y'all are even paying annual fees to have your credit card. So you're paying the annual fee plus you got what? Balances that you're paying 22% interest rate on. So it's ridiculous for us to be using credit cards. We should burn them. We should cut them up, throw them away, never to be used again. Because it's evident that in America, we do not know how to use our credit cards properly, or we wouldn't have $1.23 trillion in credit card debt. We lead the world. Highest level credit card debt has ever been in the history of the credit card industry. We got it right here in the good old USA. And that's because people are living above their means. See, a lot of people use their credit cards as a safety net. And, you know, that safety net is starting to get holes in it because you ain't got no more credit limit. You've maxed your credit cards. And now you're stuck with a 22.75 or higher interest rate. And if you're only making the minimum payment, like I told you earlier, it's going to take you 30 years to pay it off. If you decide, no, I'm not going to make the minimum payment, I'm going to bump it up to $200 a month on that $8,000 that's owed by the average American family, then it's going to probably take you close to 9 to 10 years to pay it off, paying the $200 a month. Here's the kicker, though. Here's what the credit card companies and the banks like. You're going to pay them almost $10,000 in interest, though, over that 7 or 8 year period it takes you to pay off that credit card. So, yeah, man, it would be in your best interest to get rid of your credit card debt now. But you also need to get rid of the credit cards. There's no reason why, if you don't know how to use the credit cards properly and you cannot pay the balance off in full each month, you should pay it off and then discard them. Don't use them, right? Don't use them till you can afford to pay your balance in full every month. I use my credit cards, but I pay the balance in full every single month. I just came back from a trip with my daughter to Boulder, Colorado, and I spent a lot of money, and I put it all on my credit card. But guess what? When it's time to pay the credit card bill, I built my wealth to a point where I can just take a portion of my wealth and pay off the credit card, boom, no problem. I'm not carrying any balances. So I'm not saying you can't use credit cards, but I wouldn't use credit cards if I can't pay off the balance. Because right now you're putting yourself in a situation where you're paying just an astronomical amount of interest, which is keeping you from building wealth. I keep telling you guys, the only way to freedom is through wealth. assets. But if you're spending all your money servicing credit card debt, making the credit card industry rich, then guess what? You never get to wealth. You just stay a little hamster on that little treadmill. Like, the little hamster that runs on that treadmill, never can get to the end of the treadmill. That's you, right? That's you. You that little hamster. I mean, do you want to be a hamster all your life on a treadmill, on a little wheel? Or do you want to get off? Do you want to just get off the wheel and just be in freedom? You got to correct some things, man, in your financial life, guys. A lot of us got this credit card debt that we have put ourselves in this position because we live above our means. We live on more than what we make. Y'all know that's the number one financial principle that I talk about all the time. Number one financial principle: live on less than what you make. But when I see people with credit card debt that they cannot pay off, that tells me right off the bat, they are living above their means. They're living on more than what they make. It's a telltale sign. When I see people with credit card debt, now they can make all the excuses. Well, no, I did an addition to the house, and we believe the house added $75,000 in an additional value. So as soon as rates come down, we're going to refinance the house and take that money out and pay off the credit card. Problem is, rates ain't coming down no time soon. Rates may not come down for another couple of years, but you got $40,000 outstanding on a 22.75% credit card. That's choking you. It's killing you. That's the problem. Now, you heard the statistics. I've given you the statistics, right? Over $1.2 trillion in credit card debt, right? We already know that. Average family has, average American family who uses credit cards have about $7,950 in credit card balances or debt outstanding. So we know that, right? We know that big old statistic. We know the average interest rate is about 22.75%. We know that. Now let's talk about some ways to get out of the debt. How do we pay the debt off? If you follow this channel for any period of time, you'll know the first thing I'm gonna tell you. Take inventory of everything you own that has value. I'm talking about shoes, bags, cars, jewelry, art, furniture, anything that you have that has value associated with it that you can sell. That is not a need to live, not a want to live, a need to live. You need to take an inventory of every possible thing you've bought that has any monetary value, and you need to sell it. You need to sell it. So if I got $25,000 worth of crap that I done bought and ran up my credit card balances with, and now I can't pay my credit card balance off, but I got a bunch of crap that I could potentially put on eBay or Etsy or Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist and sell it and turn it into cash, that would be my number one priority. And that's hard for a lot of people because a lot of us think these things that we bought show people that we're successful, show people that we're doing well. But in actuality, we're not doing well because we got $10, $15, $20, $30, $40,000 in credit card debt that we're paying a 22.75% or higher interest rate on, and we can't pay it off. It's choking us financially. It's going to keep us as a little hamster on that financial treadmill that the 1% got you on to keep making them wealthy. That's your option. So that's the number one thing I tell you guys to do. Take everything you own that has any value, monetary value, make a list of it, take pictures of it, and put that stuff on platforms where you can sell it and get you some cash. Let's say you got 15 grand worth of stuff, 25 grand worth of stuff. And let's say you got 15 grand worth of stuff and you can get your half. Let's say you can get half. Let's say you can get $7,500 by selling all this stuff. There you go. A lot, if you got $10,000 in credit card debt, you just put a big old gigantic dent in it. I don't care if you even got 5 grand. Let's say you got 15 grand worth of stuff that you deem is worth 15 grand and you can only get 5 selling it. And you got $10,000 worth of credit card debt. Boom, you take that 5, you pay that credit card debt down to 5. Now you went from 10 to 5. Big step. So that's number one. Sell everything you got of value that is not a need. I'm not talking about wants. I'm talking about only keep things that are a need. And then all those other things you bought with the credit card money or your savings account money, sell it. Pay down that credit card debt. Now, what is left? Let's say you can't pay the whole thing off. Let's say you got $10,000 in credit card debt. You sell everything you can sell. You create about 5 grand. You cut it in half, but you still got the other 5. And right now you're saying, this other 5 is killing me because I don't have enough money left over at the end of the month to continue paying down the principal. What should I do, Richard? Well, here's what I recommend you do. Get your side hustle. If your primary income is getting eaten up by other expenses, right, and you got no way of paying the rest of that $5,000 down on that credit card at that 22.75% rate, what you should be doing is looking for a side hustle. And here's the thing that I found about people when I talk to them about side hustles. See, they're under the illusion that they're looking for a side hustle that makes them feel good, that fits their status, that fits their place in society. I'm not gonna do these beneath me side hustles. Oh no, that's your first mistake. See, you better do whatever it takes from a side hustle standpoint to get yourself out of this debt. So it ain't about what you want to do. It's about what you have to do. So that's a problem people have when we're talking about paying debt down, guys. People always think that, oh, I don't want to do that side hustle because, shoot, that's beneath me. There's no way I'm going to drive Uber. There's no way I'm going to do Lyft. There's no way I'm a DoorDash. No, there's no way I'm going to house sit. There's no way I'm going to walk dogs and get paid for it. There is no way I'm going to do any of that stuff because that's beneath me. Don't you know I got a PhD? Don't you know I'm a 6-figure earner? Hey, obviously you're not doing well financially. You wouldn't have all this credit card debt. You wouldn't. So stop fooling yourself, guys. Stop fooling yourself. Do what you need to do to get this credit card debt paid off because I'm telling you, it ain't going to get no better. It's going to get worse. Why? Because the Fed is not going to decrease short-term interest rates anytime soon. No, the Fed chair already came out a couple weeks ago and said, we're going to keep interest rates higher for longer. And let me break that down to you, some of you guys who heard him say that and didn't quite understand what he meant. He meant that 5.5% Fed funds rate is probably going to go to what? It'll probably go to 5.75 before the end of the year because they're going to rate hike one more time. So they're going to take that Fed funds rate to 5.75, which means the prime rate is going to be 8.75, which means your credit card company is going to add another 14 to 15% on top of the prime rate. And that's your interest rate you're going to pay on all that credit card debt you got. And guess what? They can do it. Technically, they're within the rights to do it. So what I'm telling you is Fed gonna hold rates higher for longer. That's telling you rates ain't coming down no time in the foreseeable future. Probably where you're gonna see interest rates start to slowly come down, it's gonna probably be tail end of second quarter next year, somewhere in the third quarter of next year. But that's almost a year from now, guys. And then when they do start lowering them, they're going to lower them at a very, very small increments, right? But my point is rates are going to be elevated higher for longer. So that means you really got to figure out what you want to do when it comes to paying down this credit card debt you've created for yourself because you're living above your means. I've given you the first option, which is sell everything you own. Take those proceeds, pay off the credit card debt. Yeah, some of y'all, oh, that's just crazy. I'm not going to sell all my stuff. Then stay in credit card debt. It's simple. You ain't got to. You ain't got to. Just keep getting strangled and choked to death by this credit card debt and never be able to build any wealth. And then when you get to my age, you can just look in the mirror at yourself and say, you know something, I caused this for myself. I'm still working at 60 years old because I wouldn't listen. I was too good to sell all this crap that meant nothing to pay off my credit card debt. Now I'm still working at 60 years old. I'm still a little bitty hamster on that financial treadmill that the 1% got me on. Your choice. So that's number one. Second thing I told you to consider is a side hustle. And don't be picking side hustles that you think, oh, I'm perfect for that side hustle. Okay, then go get it. Go make the money. But most of us ain't gonna have the luxury of picking a side hustle that's perfect for us. We're gonna have to pick a side hustle that we just gotta get out there and grind for the next 6 to 12 months so we can pay this credit card debt off. That's the key. You gotta just get out there. I don't care if you're a PhD in mathematics. I don't care if you're some Harvard educated whatever. I don't care if you're a business owner that's been successful. I don't care what your primary income source is. Obviously, that primary income source is not enough or your butt wouldn't be in credit card debt that you can't pay off. So we can get proud and be, ooh, I ain't doing that. I ain't got to do that. I don't care what that dude on YouTube say. Well, I tell you what, be proud all you want to or keep that pride in you. It's going to keep you broke. Pride will keep you broke. So if you want to keep pride in your heart and pride so that people think you're doing well and you're really not, you're going to stay broke. That's your choice. So those are the first two things I'm asking you to do. Now, the third thing I want you to do, and some of you may lead with this. Some of you may lead with this third thing. But the third thing I want you to do is pick up the phone, and I want you to call your credit card company. Pick up the phone, call them, and say, hey, I'm one of your credit card users. And I want you guys to reduce my interest rate because if you don't, I don't know if you're going to get paid. I want you to reduce my interest rate. Now, you ain't got to say, I don't know if you're going to get paid if you don't want to, but ask them to reduce your interest rate. There's been a study done that when people call credit card companies, especially when we're in volatile times like we are, and credit card companies already can see their delinquencies starting to rise, right? People are starting to default. People are starting to just flat out not even paying the minimum balance, the minimum payment, I mean. They're just not even paying it. They're starting to see that now. So these credit cards starting to see their delinquencies go up. So the last thing they want to do is just let somebody fall off the face of the earth and not pay them. So if you call them and say, hey, I got $10,000 outstanding with you guys and it's at a 25% interest rate, I need y'all to reduce that, man. I can't keep up with that. They've been reducing the interest rates. So just pick the phone up and call them. Tell them you want to talk to them about reducing your interest rate. And they've been doing that. So that's an easy and quick way to maybe get 3 or 4 or 5% off of your interest rate. Any discount on the interest rate is a good thing, guys, but you got to pick the phone up and call them. They're not going to send you a little text and say, hey, Richard, by the way, you're wonderful. And since you're so wonderful, hey, we're going to take 5% off of your interest. They're not going to do that, guys. You're going to have to pick up the phone and make an inquiry and get them to understand you're feeling the pain and you need to get some relief. As I've told you, their credit card delinquencies are starting to rise. People are starting to not pay their minimum payment, guys. They can't pay it. Why? Because they're living on more than what they make. And when people are prioritizing, when their back is against the wall, right? Their back up is against the wall. They ain't got enough money to pay everything. They prioritize what they're going to pay. And guess what? Credit cards are on that priority list. Oh, they're down at the bottom. And those credit card companies know they're down at the bottom. So they're going to do everything they can to encourage you to keep paying them because they know they're down at the bottom. People are going to take care of shelter. People are going to take care of transportation. And people are going to take care of food. Those are the 3 big ones. So when my back against the wall and I'm living on more than what I make, those are the 3 things I'm going to batten down and take care of first. Shelter, food, and transportation. Credit cards, is not on that list if I ain't got no limit to spend. If I'm maxed out and y'all talking about sending y'all $200 a month, y'all won't get that. So credit card companies know that because their delinquencies are starting to go up. So they're more willing to negotiate on interest rate, right? They're more willing to negotiate because they know they're already gouging you. Come on, prime rate is 8.5, but you paying 22.75. So that tells me they're charging you 14% over what prime rate is. That's too expensive, man. That's what I can't understand. I mean, for me personally, I would sell every single thing I own to get rid of that credit card debt at that type of interest rate. I would sell every single thing. The patio furniture, I'd sell it. Right? I would sell the cars if I got equity in them. If I got a really nice car and for some reason I was able to pay that sucker off and it got $20,000, $30,000 worth of equity in it, I'd sell that car today. Pay my credit card debt off, take me about 5 to 75 to 10 grand and go buy me one cash, and that's what I would drive. Ain't nowhere in the world I'd be driving around here in no car with no equity in it, and I got credit card debt. We just got our priorities mixed up in this country. We care more about pride, right? We care about impressing people. Oh, I don't want them to think of, oh, everybody at the soccer club where my kids go, or I can't let these people think we're not doing well. Oh, I can't let my family think I'm not doing well since I've always done well. I don't want them to. No, hey, you better stop being prideful. You gotta stop being prideful, man. Prideful is gonna keep you broke. I keep telling y'all, pride, fear, and greed gonna keep you broke. You got to stop that. Those are financial killers. And a lot of us have these 3 financial killers as part of our life. We got to eliminate those things out of our life. And we got to trade them in for things like discipline and consistency and patience. We got to trade those financial killers in for financial behaviors that lead us to prosperity. Right now, we're not prosperous. We're struggling. We got credit card debt that's mounting. For those of you that got the student loan debt, the government just turned back on the interest on those. So now you got the credit card debt, you got the student loan interest turned back on. Can't make it. It's too much. So what I'm telling you is, number 1, sell everything that has any monetary value that's not a need to live. Sell it. Number 2, get you a side hustle. I don't care what side hustle, any side hustle where you can create money immediately. So if I need to drive DoorDash, Uber, Lyft, I will drive it till the wheels fall off the car if I have to. I will start me a little house sitting business where I tell people through Facebook, hey, I will sit and watch your house and make sure it's okay when you go out of town, blah, 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 blah. It's little to no money to start that. Yeah, you got to get a little bit of bonding and get your little self, so people trust you. But it ain't that much money to get started. Hey, by the way, I have dogs and I have a dog walking business. So if you just don't have the time to take your dog out and you live in a proximity close to me, I'll come pick your dog up, take them out for a walk, and here are my rates. Hell, you're already walking your own dog. Get you 3 or 4 more of them and walk them. But you can start earning some money to pay off your credit card debt. And then third, pick up the phone and call the credit card company. Let them know I need an interest rate reduction. And they will grant it to you, in my opinion, because they know delinquencies on credit card balances are rising. People are starting to not make the minimum payment, guys, because they can't. They just can't make it. It's too expensive. They got to prioritize. Let me see. Food or the credit card bill? Let me see. Oh, I think I'm going to take food. That's what people are doing. My rent or the credit card balance payment thing. I think I'm going to pay the rent. That's what people are doing, guys. So credit card companies know that. So call them and ask them to reduce your interest rate. And they are doing that. They are actively reducing rates. So that could be a game changer. It could shave 3, 4, 5% off your interest rate, which is big money if you're going to be paying this thing off over time, right? So it's a big, big decrease in interest that you'll be paying the credit card company. And then number 4, last but not least, thing I would ask you to do with these credit cards. Of course, you know I want you to burn them, but realistically, you need to cut them up. You need to cancel them. Well, I don't want to cancel it because that's going to lower my FICO score. Let's be honest with us, guys. Your FICO score already low, right? Because your credit card utilization is probably through the roof. That's going to drive down your score. I don't care. If your credit card utilization is through the roof, it's over 30%, guess what? You already got your credit score down. So don't fool yourself. Oh, I don't want to do that because if I cancel the card, I read somewhere that's going to take 10 points off my credit score. Guys, your credit score means nothing if you're broke and ain't got no way to make no money. See, it's one thing if you got an excellent credit score, no money, but you know how to use your credit in order to make money. No problem with that. But 99% of us don't know how to do that. That's why you got credit card debt right now. If you knew how to apply credit card arbitrage and turn those credit card limits into cash and then take that cash and multiply it through credit card arbitrage, then yeah, I would say definitely keep a bunch of credit card limits because I know how to turn those limits into cash and then take that cash and multiply it. So I did that for many, many, many years through credit card arbitrage. I got a whole playlist on YouTube walking you guys through how I used credit cards properly to build wealth. Now, I don't recommend that for everybody because a lot of you folks ain't really at that level yet where you want to use credit cards to try to make money. What you should start with is, let's go ahead and do these 4 things Richard told us, including cut the card up. That's the 4th thing. Cut it up. Get rid of them. Close them. I promise you, your credit score will survive. You don't need to be borrowing no money anyways because you broke, right? Why do I need a high credit score when I don't have enough money to pay for anything other than my basic essentials? I'm living on more than what I make. So let's prioritize right. We want to eliminate what put us in this situation. Now, once we get ourselves in the right financial situation, right? We correct our financial behavior and now we got the right behavior with money, then we can always go back to credit cards and start using them properly. But for right now, we are not using them properly, so we need to cut them up and get rid of them. And that way, we're not tempted to put our hand in the cookie jar when we know we don't need to be putting our hand in that cookie jar. We're not tempted if it's not there. If the cookies are not there, I'm not tempted. See, I love cookies. I love homemade cookies or freshly made cookies, right? I love them. I go to Publix, my grocery store. I got to stay away from that aisle. Now, it's not even on an aisle. It's in the bakery because they're freshly made. They're not in some little processed package that they've been on the shelf for seven months. Not them kind of cookies. I'm talking about the ones that they make fresh every single day. See, I got a little bit of a problem with those. And I know I'm an older gentleman and I don't need no problems because I'm intaking too much sweets. So I have to stay myself away from that place over there by the bakery. I just don't go over there. I go the other way around the grocery store because I don't tempt myself. You got to do that with the credit cards, guys. Cutting up the credit cards is just you not tempting yourself. Because if I get a low moment, I might go pull the credit card out and go buy myself something nice because I think that makes me feel better. So don't tempt yourself. Cut those credit cards up, cancel them, get rid of them, right? And just go strictly cash. I would say go cash for at least 120 days to 180 days, 6 months, just cash, right? If I ain't got the cash, I don't buy it. Cut up the credit cards, get rid of them. So there are your 4 things, guys, I recommend you do. And I think if you do them, You're going to put yourself in a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful position to get yourself out of credit card debt and keep yourself out of credit card debt. Those are 4 practical steps you can take. 4 practical steps, right? 4. Sell everything of value. Number 1. Number 2, side hustle. Number 3, call the credit card company. Ask for a reduction in your interest rate. They are giving those reductions, guys, but you got to call them to get it. They're not going to contact you to give it to you voluntarily. But if you call them, they will give it to you. And then number 4, cut the credit card up. Get rid of the temptation. Get it out of your life. Cut it up. Cancel them. Put them in the garbage or wherever you want to put them at to dispose of them. And then when you get yourself in a better financial shape, then you can revisit using credit cards the correct way. But right now we've demonstrated we can't use credit cards properly because we can't pay the balance off, right? And that's not a bad thing. That's just a programming thing. Y'all know I talk a lot about programming on this channel, programming our filter system, which is your brain. We've been programmed from birth to use credit cards improperly. Be impulsive. Oh, nice Gucci bag. You know, I did get an A in my test the other day that I took online, so I'm gonna reward myself. Boop, there you go. They process, we're already processed and pre-programmed that way. You know, we're programmed that way. Oh man, shoot. I've been working out for 6 months, I feel great. I'm gonna treat myself. So I'm gonna go out and buy myself something nice just to say congratulations for doing something you're supposed to do anyways. Keep yourself physically fit, in shape, healthy. You're supposed to do that anyways. You don't reward yourself for that. You're supposed to do that anyways. But see, we make excuses to buy things. Why? Because we're searching for something, right? We're searching for, hey, I want people to believe I'm doing well, because that's the way we're programmed. We're not programmed to say, you know something? I'm gonna take this money, put it in an S&P 500 ETF, where I'm gonna get an 8 to 10% rate of return over the next 10 years, and I'm gonna build wealth. That's what I'm gonna do with my money. I'm not gonna go out and splurge and buy nothing that really don't mean anything in the big scheme of things. Yeah, it may give me that temporary, short-lived satisfaction, but then I gotta pay off that credit card that I put it on because I really don't have the cash to buy it. See, we shouldn't be doing that. We should be taking every free dollar we have and investing it in assets to build wealth, to create financial freedom. Because that's the only thing that gets us to freedom. That's the only thing gets us off of that little bitty hamster wheel, that financial hamster wheel. See, we want a little hamster running on that little thing, just running, and the 1% laughing at us. And the 1% laughing at us because they're like, when are these people gonna understand we just using them to get richer and more wealth, more yachts, more luxury homes around the world, right? Private jets. When are they gonna understand they pay for all of this stuff? We gotta understand that, man. We in a big part of how we help them fund their luxury lifestyles is by using our credit cards improperly. How do I know that? Because we got $1.23 trillion in credit card debt. That's how I know that. Highest level it has ever been in America. We lead the world. You can add up like 50 countries and we still have more credit card debt than 50 countries. It's just crazy. Why? Because we live above our means, and we got to reprogram ourselves to live below our means. Not live above, but live below. But it starts with doing what? Having to make the tough decision. Having to do something you're uncomfortable doing. If you want to be a wealth man, you're going to have to get uncomfortable financially. If you're going to build wealth, you're going to have to get uncomfortable financially. You talk to any self-made millionaire out there and ask them, hey, along your journey of building wealth and becoming a millionaire, were there any times in that journey you had to get financially uncomfortable. I guarantee you, if they're self-made, 100% of them will tell you instances in their financial journey where they had to be uncomfortable financially in order to pull it all together and make it work. So why are you gonna be different? No, you're gonna have to get uncomfortable financially, guys. And that means you're gonna have to give up stuff in the short term to have everything you want in the long term. That's the key, man. You're gonna give up something to get something. That's how it works. You don't just roll out of bed one morning all of a sudden, when you walk in the bathroom to brush your teeth, you got a big old $1 million check on your mirror. It don't work that way. Ain't no, you know, when you're a little kid, you know, you lose one of your, you lose a tooth. You know, the fairy godmother, whatever they call them, would come and put you a little $1 or $2 under your pillow and take your little tooth. Now, that don't exist in the real world, guys. Ain't no tooth fairy. Ain't no tooth fairy in the real world. Ain't nobody gonna come give you nothing. Whatever you get in this world, you gonna get out there and earn it. Ain't nobody gonna give you nothing. So stop looking for somebody to give you something. Stop hoping and wishing somebody gave you something. No one gonna give you nothing. And that's the attitude you gotta have. That's why you gotta be willing to give up something in the short term in order to build wealth so you have everything you want in the long term. And what's giving up something in the short term? Things. You gotta give up things. You gotta give up buying things. If you do that, you got a shot. You got a shot to build wealth. Problem most people have is they choose things over freedom. Most of us choose things over freedom. And you can't do that. You can't, I guess you can do it because a lot of people do it. But the problem you run into when you choose things over freedom, see, those things are not going to generate any passive income for you. None of them are. None of those things are going to generate passive income. The only thing that's going to generate passive income for you are assets. Assets that actually multiply money for you. That's what creates real freedom. But in order to get to that freedom, you got to give up some things in the short term. Take that money and invest it in assets. Now, once you get to your enjoyment stage of wealth, then you take your assets that's generating this passive income for you, and then buy all the things you want. Because your assets will pay for them. Never-ending stream of income. I've already given something in the past, so now I don't have to give anything in the future because I already gave it in the past. The assets are built. So I gave up something in the past. What did I give up in the past? Things. I just gave them up. Right? I gave up something in the past, which are things. Now, in the future, guess what? I can have everything I want because I got assets to pay for it. Passive income at its best. Guys, if you're in the chat, you're just popping in, hit that thumbs up for me. We're getting ready to close this thing out in a few minutes. Please hit the thumbs up for me. It's very important for the YouTube algorithm that we get these hit the like button. That like button helps the YouTube algorithm spread this content out to more people. And you guys know one of my main objectives of this channel is to reach more people so that we can help more people get to their financial freedom. So if you'll do me a favor, we got quite a few people in here, and I'm asking some of you guys to hit the like button for me. I know everybody won't hit it, but that's okay. But for those of you who like coming to the channel and getting content to help you get to where you want to get to financially, the way you can thank me is by hitting that like button. Just tap it. It won't hurt. It's free to do. But it also helps the channel get spread out to more people. And it helps me because it tells me, Richard, people appreciate what you're doing. Keep doing it. Keep putting the content out. Keep grinding. So that's your way of just saying, hey, Richard, we're with you. We may not agree with everything you say, but we certainly appreciate the grind. We certainly appreciate the daily financial information that we can then take and use what we need to use to navigate this financial snake pit we're going through in order to build our wealth. So if you're okay with that, hit that like button for me. I really, 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 really would appreciate it. So there you go, man, with the credit card dilemma we're in the United States. I've walked you through the staggering financial numbers when it comes to credit cards. It's just alarming. But I've also, more importantly, walked you through 4 ways I believe you can get yourself out of the weeds, correct your financial situation you're in, and then get yourself to a point where, boom, you can start building wealth to get to your freedom. Last thing I want to talk to you guys about, then I'm going to let you guys go on with your rest of your weekend, is I've been talking about over the last several days on all my social media platforms this real estate fund that I'm getting ready to start. For those of you who are new to the channel, I've invested in real estate for income for over 25 years here in Southwest Florida where I live. And I basically concentrated on 1 to 4 family residential dwellings, single family homes, duplexes, quadruplexes, and triplexes, right? Up to 4 units. That's my specialty. Now, having said that, I also worked in banking for 25 years where my specialty was working with professional real estate investors who bought all types of real estate. They may have bought multifamily, they bought office, they bought retail, industrial, special purpose, land. I've worked with a lot of real estate investors in every area of real estate, both residential and commercial. So I'm very, very in tune to what goes on in the commercial real estate world because I was a commercial banker financing large commercial real estate projects for clients. My sweet spot, though, is 1 to 4 family. And the reason I like residential 1 to 4 family is because the last thing someone is going to give up if we hit a bump in the road financial in this country is where they live. That's the last thing going to go. If I own a commercial piece of property, and let's say I own a little strip center, and I got 5 or 6 tenants in it, and we hit a financial bump in the road, whoever those tenants are in that little strip center you own, they're going to give that space up before they give up their home. Because they can just go to their home and run their business out of their home. So that's why commercial is a little riskier for me, and it's not really my cup of tea because of that. People will give up commercial real estate in a heartbeat. Why? Because that's not where they lay their head. And if they're a mom and pop business, which 95% of the business in America are mom and pop guys, less than 500 employees, right? 95% of the business in America are mom and pop, less than 500 employees. So a lot of those folks, and of course 500 employees is a lot, but more importantly, small business. So a lot of these small business owners are going to give up that space, but they won't give up home. They'll just run their business out of home. So I like residential 1 to 4, but I'm starting this real estate fund. And my goal is to raise $20 million to buy residential 1 to 4 real estate. Now, here's the situation. I believe by doing that and buying in locations that people have a desire to live, I'm going to be able to get at least a 15 to 30% cash on cash return on that 20 million plus portfolio. That's what I believe. I've done some homework. I've been to Boulder, Colorado, where we're going to buy real estate. For the first $20 million in real estate, we're going to buy it in Boulder, Colorado, or the surrounding areas near Boulder, Colorado. And I would recommend that you guys go check out my video from yesterday where I did a full video on it. I'm not going to do that today because time's running out on me, but that's where you can get more details. But if you're interested in that, go look at that video and send me an email. My email address for my company, RF Financial Consulting, is down in the description box of this video. Or you can DM me on Instagram at RichardFain28. Just remember, the goal is to create a real estate fund. And that fund is going to raise minimum of 20 million bucks. Now we may raise 30 million, 40 million, 50 million, whatever we raise, we're going to take those proceeds. We're going to go to Boulder, Colorado and the surrounding areas, and we're going to buy real estate. And I explained in my video yesterday why I believe that's the right move. I'm looking for investors, right? I'm looking for investors from my YouTube channel audience, from my Instagram audience that want to partner with me on this venture. Now, I'm not asking you guys for any money or anything like that now. What I'm asking you to do is, if you have interest, go check out that video and then drop me an email or a DM and say, hey, Richard, I saw the video. I'm interested. Send me some more details. And then that's what I'll do. One more last time, guys, before we check out of here. Hit that like button for me, please. It's very important. I've already explained how YouTube works and its algorithm works. It will not spread your content out unless you get some participation and people hit that like button. And again, that's your way of saying, Richard, thanks for sharing the content. Again, that doesn't mean you agree with everything I say, but you at least appreciate the grind, me making the content and providing you guys with some financial information that you can then take to help you get to your financial freedom. So if you don't mind, hit that like button for me. I really, really would appreciate it. Also, share the video. If you thought it was helpful, even if you didn't think it was helpful to you, it might be helpful to someone else. So please share this video about this credit card information and some ways people can get out of credit card debt that I just shared. Share this video with somebody in your network, and your family, and your church, and your neighborhood, at your gym, wherever you go, share it. Just send them the link. I really would appreciate that. If you want them 12 free stocks from Webull, once again, guys, you got to click on that link down in the description box. Open up your Webull account. Go get up to 12 free stocks for just trying out their brokerage app. All right? Go get that free stock. Go get that free money. And then I'm going to send you a Webull tutorial video to walk you through how to use the Webull app so that you can start making your trades, buying ETFs, buying individual stocks, so that you can get on your way to building wealth. That's the key, right? Getting the wealth, getting off that hamster wheel, right? Getting off that financial hamster wheel. Get yourself the wealth. It should be your goal, right? That's how you get freedom. Give up things, get yourself some freedom. Again, guys, hit that like button. I really would appreciate it. Tap it. It don't hurt. Tap, tap, tap. And I'm going to see you guys on the next live stream or the next video. Thoughts become things. If you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hands. You guys keep chasing your greatness. Never stop believing in yourself. And I'm going to catch you on the next one. Peace.